Hello and welcome to Rags to Riches. This is where we try to go from zero all the way to hero, where we try to capture as much of the map, if we can capture the entirety of the map in under 100 days. So let's start a new game here and see how we do. Now, we're going to go with Impoverished Noble, Street Urchin, Squire, and Lust for Money and Power. That is ideally going to be giving us a pretty significant amount of looting skill. We need looting skill at least initially, and so as a result we're also going to be going for 12 in agility. And apart from that, I could potentially go for some trade skill here. I'm not sure whether I really want to do that. I could potentially do that, or we could go for some iron flesh instead, make us a little bit better when it comes to actually, you know, killing things and actually surviving. I think we'll go for the trade. I think we'll go for the trade skill. If we can find Marnid. Marnid is basically super important if we can find him, if I didn't have the 2 points in trade. So if you're also wanting to play along, for example, then I'd highly recommend trying to find Marnid if you can. Obviously, 100 days is not a lot of time, so we have to move quick, right? We have to move quick, we have to do things very efficiently, and we have to make sure that we're not wasting too much time. I can only hope that this guy... Oh yeah, he actually has a bow. Okay, that's kind of hilarious. There we go. Nice little headshot right there. Yeah, it's easy enough to obviously defeat this bandit because we don't have any restrictions at this point in the game, but as soon as we are done with the little merchant guy, we're gonna be out of here. All right, so I'm going to get rid of everything. Every single thing is going to be lost. So none of our character creation choices actually matter with the exception of the stats. And so we're just going to get rid of all of that. And then we are going to be, unfortunately, maybe fortunately, to be honest, those guys, those guys attacked me, and well, that's pretty good because now I lost a little bit of money, so I guess that's pretty decent. Anyway, we now need, aha, this is actually perfect. Okay, look at that. I can literally just buy that shield, get rid of this, discard that, and there we go. All right, so I have 4 dinars, which is absolutely nothing. I have these stats, just so you can see them, and I have well, no troops, of course. So I have no equipment, no nothing, no anything whatsoever. And what we're going to do is I'm going to head on over to Balan Lee. Balan Lee is very, very close, and... I'm going to surrender. Alright, so they actually just dropped me off straight next to Balan Lee, which is hilarious because what I'm going to do now is we're just going to steal the cattle, you know, we're just going to steal the cattle, good old-fashioned, you know, cattle stealing. And I actually did the wrong thing right there. Oh, well, never mind. It's not like I'm actually wasting any days right now, but there you go. Alright, so we've got all the fresh beef in the world that we could want, and now we're going to make our way over to Praven. Hopefully I'm not going to get murdered by these looters. Yeah, they could potentially catch up to me quite easily, I think, if they were to try, but they didn't this time around, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, we're just going to sell all of this. As you can see, we're going to get a lot. Going to just trade a couple of it for some bread and things like that. Technically, we don't... technically, it's maybe not the best idea to go for bread. You know, it's not really cost-effective in comparison to grain or whatever, but, yeah, that's just what's there and what's available to me right now, so that's what I'm doing. Hilariously enough, shield? Very expensive right here. Very, very expensive. Okay, I don't think I actually want to buy anything else, so we're not going to do that. The horses here are very, very expensive too, and I'm going to hope that the armor is not that expensive. Wow, okay, yeah, this is much more expensive than anticipated. Alright, well, there you go. That's going to have to... Oh, wow, I cannot spend 377 on that. That is insane. That is insanity right there. Okay, yeah, so, well, I do have a little bit of money, so that means I can now start recruiting. And the reason why we steal the cattle from Balan Lee is because it is out of the way. And usually it's one of those villages that you don't necessarily go to if you're going to be recruiting, right? So generally that's what I do. So anyway, we're going to go here because obviously I want to fight as many bandits as we can get our hands on. And, well, oh, these guys actually have horses. Well, this is maybe not a good idea. Well, actually, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's going to work out. Maybe it will work out much better than I think. But I'm having a bad feeling about this, actually. Oh, dear. Oh, my. Oh, my. Oh, my. No, it's okay. It's fine. Get some kills, Bardic. Get some kills, you absolute imbecile. There we go. Yeah, he's getting a couple of kills. Unfortunately, if I had a shield, this would be a lot easier. But, of course, the shields were way too expensive for some reason. I don't know why. It's actually quite funny because, yeah, let me tell you, I'm going to be honest. I have tried a test run or two just to make sure that the start is kind of a bit smoother than you might expect if I hadn't. And every single time I've done this, the shields have been cheap. Which is a very, very funny, very funny eventuality right there. Anyway, we're just going to get that. There we go. And we are just going to move on. And there we go. We got some people that have leveled up into militia already. And now all we want to do is try to get as many Swadians as we can get our hands on. And also, of course, get more cattle when we can. Now, I am going to just go over to Nomar real fast before we head into Rodok territory. Now, bear in mind that obviously Rodoks, I'm not really going to be doing much with them. I'm not going to take any of their units most of the time unless I have no other choice or whatever, but what we're going to do is just steal stuff from them at the moment. There we go. 9. Yes, it is very, very RNG, by the way, whether we're actually going to be getting a huge amount of cattle stolen. It is not predetermined whether we're going to be getting 9 or whether we're going to be getting 2 or anything like that. So it's very, very important that we actually get good RNG there. If you don't get good RNG, then it is a huge pain. It is a huge, huge pain. So, you know, just letting you know about that. Anyway, we're going to go for some of these things, I guess. Nothing too dramatic. And this is, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at these shields right here, 120. Super, super cheap in comparison to what we had before. And look at these horses as well. These are much, much cheaper than what we had in the previous place. So we're just going to get this. We'll buy a lame sumpter horse as well, just to kind of go along with it. And we're also going to be going into the tavern here. Now, I obviously want to try to find as many companions as I can. Jeremus, oh my, I am so lucky right now. I am extremely, extremely lucky. This has to be one of the luckiest. Wow, okay. I'm so surprised. I am so surprised right now. Okay, so otherwise, let's do... I can only hire 2 of you. Yeah. I would like to get those mercenary crossbowmen, but I unfortunately do not have the ability to do that. We only have 361 dinars. So bear in mind that obviously doing tournaments, and there is a limit on how many tournaments I can do. I can only do 3 tournaments in the entirety of the series. So there's no way for me to spam them for money or for renown or anything like that, and we're going to have to find alternate methods with which to make cash. So Shariz and Amarad, well, have fun with that. I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. That is way too difficult for us right now. So we're just going to do this. We're just going to go straight on in versus these guys. Hilariously enough, I think we're probably going to be fine here if I don't die instantaneously. Oh, wow, these guys actually... Yeah, these guys actually have a little bit of danger to them. They do have a little bit of danger to them. This is maybe a little bit problematic. No. Okay, no, we're fine. Okay, let's just try to get stuck in there a little bit more. There we go. And also bear in mind, no experience changes have been made, so I'm not going to be leveling up, you know, insanely fast or anything like that, because this is indeed supposed to be a challenge, and it is obviously native, you know, so things are just going to level up normally, and our troops are going to level up normally, companions, myself, and so on and so forth, and everything's going to be great. But the point is, being as efficient as possible is going to be our #1 priority. Priority, yes. And so technically what I could do is I could take this if we wanted to, which I think I will do here. Oh wow, they had nothing. They had literally nothing. That is hilarious. They literally gave me nothing. Okay, I'm literally gonna steal cattle right now. I'm gonna steal cattle from them because they didn't give me anything, considering I asked for it. But there you go. Oh wow, this is actually pretty good. Look at that. They're giving me 12 cattle here. This is actually kind of insane. This is the most I've ever gotten, actually. So very, very happy with that. And we're otherwise just going to be taking all of this. There we go. And now I can make my way over to Jokala. Bear in mind that obviously there is shall we say, diminishing returns. There is a diminishing returns rate that you have to be a little bit aware of, but I'm basically just foregoing that. I don't really care if we have that or not. My main concern is just trying to get as best gear as I possibly can in the time that I have. And that's it, you know. I could technically travel to alternate places, like, you know, I could go to the other city in Rodok territory, Yalen. I could go to Yalen if I wanted to, but that is really not my purpose right now. My purpose right now is just to get as much cash as possible, waste as little time as possible, and now we're going to swing back around into Swadian territory, try to recruit as many people as possible, and then head up into, oh yeah, you guessed it, Sea Raider territory. Alright, so we got 47 versus the enemy's 14. Now, obviously, this is not really, shall I say, not really that dangerous. Although, it could be. It could be. If Native had the same kind of functionality that some mods have, where they can, you know, bring friends and they can sort of, you know, join each other, you know, then we'd be fighting about 30 people right now, which would be really pretty good. That would be really, really nice for me. But unfortunately, that's not how Native works. So, yeah, I'm right next to another party that has about 13 troops. And we're going to be fighting them after this as well. Now, obviously, bear in mind that it would probably be a good idea to try and avoid dying as best as we can. It is not really the goal to stay alive, because this is not the Iron Man challenge, but it would be good because, again, Native has another limitation. And the limitation is, of course, the fact that if I die, the battle is over. Oh yeah. It's completely and utterly over, so we need to be very, very careful, and that's also the reason why this is very much going to be a challenge, because I will, in the future, be unable to die when it comes to sieges. You know, we can't go into a siege and then immediately just get killed. I have to stay alive in those situations. If I am unable to stay alive, then that is a retreat. That is a retreat, and that is bad. That is fundamentally bad. So, yeah. Anyway, Sea Raiders are absolutely fantastic prisoners. This is also the reason why I wanted to spec a little bit into prisoner management. They sell for about 110 dinars per one, which is absolutely fantastic for early money making, and that's exactly the reason why we're taking those. We're otherwise just going to be leveling up a couple of people here. Look at that. We're getting so many militia level ups. And then we can also get, oh, hello, yes, we're getting more gear. Yes, yes, massive amounts of upgrades right here. This is fantastic, look at that. And we also have some better shields too, fantastic. Alright, so not too, as I said, not too close by to the, well, not too close by, not too far away, shall we say, from the town. We have these Sea Raiders. I had to leave the other party, and we have these guys. Now, they do actually have a couple of prisoners which we can rescue, which is also going to add to our strength. Now, I'm not really going to be commanding people that much because, you know, the whole point, of course, is to destroy opponents really, really quickly and try to be as quick as we possibly can, as efficient as we possibly can. And obviously, I'm going to try not to die. Thank you. Don't get me poked in the face. But yeah, the Sea Raiders are obviously pretty good against cavalry. Ah, nice, nice, nice. Look at that. We actually got level 3. Don't worry, you haven't missed any level ups or anything like that. I just haven't done that yet. We are going to be doing that after this battle. And hopefully we're going to be able to select some nice things. I mean, technically I would like to get to level 4 before we level up, because then I can get another point in looting, but I'm not entirely sure if looting skill is even going to be that useful anymore, because we're now in the stage of fighting against Sea Raiders. And yeah, looting does help us, but I'm not sure if it's really required in comparison to leadership skill and prisoner management. I think that's going to be maybe the the priority going forward here. So as you can see, we do gain these 2 Sea Raiders here, and we also gain some gear. I didn't sell the rest of the gear, unfortunately. I am going to go back and actually do that now. And we are now here in the ransom broker, and I was actually trying to level those guys up. My bad. Anyway, we're here at the ransom broker. Let's just sell these guys. 400 dinars we have now. Let's go in here. They only have 560. Yeah, they don't have that much, do they? But that's okay. That's all right. It's gonna probably be enough. We can sell all of that. So this, there we go, 390, not too bad, not too bad. And now we're just going to go into the arena here, because I am going to obviously want to continue checking where the tournaments are. Unfortunately, it looks as though there aren't any really, really close by. They're all the way down in Serenade territory, and there's no way I'm going to go all the way down there. Alright, so I have now waited for a little bit of time and tried to restore my HP as best as I could. And what we're actually going to do, considering I already have 3 in leadership, I'm not going to spec into charisma just yet, but charisma is definitely going to be a thing that we are going to be trying to pump as much as possible, but I am going to be specking into strength, because strength is actually really, really important for us, not because of power strike or anything like that, but just because of being able to equip various pieces of gear, because the gear that we're going to be getting is going to obviously be really kind of high requirements later on down the line, and it's going to be very important for us to do that. So we're otherwise going to try and find some Sea Raiders here. I kind of wouldn't mind finding a Sea Raider hideout. If I could find a Sea Raider hideout and then find the person that... There it is. There it is. All right, absolutely perfect timing. Thank you very much. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're now going to go, and I think it's Boyar Belgaru. Isn't he the one that actually owns this? I can't join the feast, so I'm going to actually request a meeting with... I think it's Belgaru that owns this. I could be wrong about this. Let's actually... mercenaries? No, I'm not interested, thank you. Do you have anything else? No, I'm too busy to go after him. Do you have anything else? No, he doesn't. Okay. Unfortunate. It might be Doru. Nope. Nope, he doesn't have anything. Okay, who is the guy? Who is the guy that owns Rivercheck? Because that's going to be the thing that will determine what we do here. Mariga, of course it is. I should have known. Yes, I should have known that. Is Mariga here? He is, of course, not here. Okay, well, that's a little bit unfortunate, isn't it? Okay, I guess the best course of action for me to do right now is literally to ask. So let's go into Naldera and actually speak to him. I want to know the location of Boyar Mariga. He should be close to Vezin at the moment. Okay, let's try and see whether we can find him. Aha! Yes, indeed. He does have a Sea Raider task for us, which is exactly what we wanted. There we go. Destroy Bandit Lair. And we're also now just equipping Jeremus with some upgraded gear as well, because I just auto-resolved versus some Sea Raiders just to kind of get a couple of them taken prisoner, just to see, because usually I don't really auto-resolve that much, but I wanted to, you know, just kind of see how many I would be able to take prisoner. As you can see, these guys are really slippery as well. Less talking, more raiding. That is exactly what they said just now. And, well, I've got a new axe, as you can see right here. I actually got that from the auto-resolved party of Sea Raiders, and, yeah, it's actually pretty nice. As you can quite clearly tell, it seems to do some pretty good damage. I don't really need to try with it super hard or anything like that, so we should be pretty good with this. One thing that I am actually really missing right now is the ability to take a hit. I know that sounds really dumb to say, but I feel very fragile right now. I feel like I can literally die in 2 hits, which is very true, actually. I think it is actually true. So, yeah. Anyway, there we go. We did manage to do that, and we also... Oh, look at that. We also got a Manhunter. Very nice. And we can also sell these Sea Raiders too. And we also got pretty decent gear to sell. Whoa, looks like I'm pretty lucky right there. Okay, so we sold for 417 dinars, and I'm lucky enough to find another ransom broker. Usually, they don't usually show themselves this dramatically, but they're all over the place for some reason. Ah, look at what we have here. There is a tournament starting at Warband, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so before we go into the tournament, I have to spec something. So I think what we're going to do is go for 10 strength, and I might put a point into Iron Flesh. I know. Usually it is not a good idea to spec into Iron Flesh just because it provides you with such a small benefit. But I'm thinking to myself, what is better for me right now? What is better for me right now? I guess I could go for inventory management to a certain degree. That could be kind of useful. I could go for trainer skill, but I am only level 4, so that doesn't really do much for me. We could also go for athletic skill. I guess athletics might be kind of useful. Shield would probably be more useful too. Yeah, let's go for some shield. Why not? I mean, we are inevitably going to be using a shield quite often, if not all the time, because we need to survive as much as possible. Native being what it is, we cannot die in battles. So it's very important that we try to survive. That's also the reason why I was kind of partially thinking, oh yes, we should probably go for Iron Flesh. But yeah, it's those times where you just think, do I really want to go for that? Because as you can see right here, I just took 44 damage, and if I'd had less HP, I would have died instantly. You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So that's the reason why I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should go for Iron Flesh. I don't know. It's one of those cases. I don't know. It's one of those cases where I'm always in two minds about it. I personally don't really mind Iron Flesh. I think it's a pretty decent skill if you want to try to improve your survivability to a certain degree. But there are better skills. That's the thing. There are better skills to choose, and I guess that's the point. There we go. Jarl Harold. Yeah, there's a bunch of Jarls in here, by the way. Loads and loads of lords in here, as well as Kratos. And these guys are going to be insanely difficult for us to deal with. Thankfully, we've already eliminated one of the parties, so that's pretty good. So now we don't have to worry too much about that. Unfortunately, these guys are indeed working together quite nicely. There we go. Come on now. I needed a good solid hit against one of them. Unfortunately, that was not good enough. I think we are through to the next round, though. Yep, there we go. It's pretty good. Nice. Okay, so this is a free-for-all. Not a terribly big fan. Yeah, might be a bit of a problem. Gotta be a bit careful. Oh, yes, of course, they're both targeting me. Okay, Jarl Bulba. Okay. Is it about time for you to go and see your brother Sebulba? No, you know what I should have said? I should have said, his brother, Seb. There we go. He should have gone and seen his brother, Seb. Yeah, get it? Because Sebulba? Yeah, do you get the reference? I hope you do. I hope you do. Anyway. Sand. It gets everywhere. I hate it. I hate sand. Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, there we go. Eliminate his horse. And then we will eliminate him. We will just charge into him a little bit and do some damage, and he's dead. That was very easy, wasn't it? Yeah, it was very nice and easy. Okay, we might actually achieve victory here, surprisingly enough. It didn't look very good in the first round, I gotta say. It looked as though we were going to die very, very quickly, but we might actually have something here. We might be okay. There we go. Whew. All right. Now, technically, native, right? Native tournaments are not that difficult, but it's been such a long time since I've done these. Sometimes, especially when there are a bunch of lords, because let me show you, look at how many lords are actually in the tournament. That's an insane number. And them being there, that was kind of harsh, you know? It's kind of harsh. Mercenary Horsemen. We might want to get a couple more of those. I feel like maybe it would be, I don't know. I think that would be pretty useful. Maybe pretty useful. I don't know. But we've got 5,200 dinars right now, and I think that's probably going to be it for this episode. If you would like to see a continuation of this series, then by all means, let me know. And stay tuned just for a couple more seconds, because you're going to get to see how many days it has been so far. Otherwise, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.